I'm an activist of the movement 5 Star in Italy, and we have created a Meetup, so it's such an association of activists here in Berlin. We are actually around 60 people, but growing in the time. On this presentation, we would like to introduce you our movement. That means not in terms of just what we are, but from where we are coming from. So something about our history, something about our organization, and of course the main important things that we are dealing with our movement. That means point in our program, activity in the parliament that we are just started in Italy, and of course what will be in terms of future division of the movement 5 Star. So, starting from the history, our movement starts from the activity made by the founder, so Pepe Grillo, and the co-founder, that is Gianroberto Casaleggio. The activity, the movement started from 2001 to 2005. That means starting with the blog that was made by Pepe Grillo, where people can have the opportunity to have basically another kind of information not coming from the standard media that we have in Italy. I don't know if you are aware of, but Italy, in terms of liberty on information or freedom in information, is not on the first place in the world. Unfortunately, now we just reached the 52nd place in the world, and unfortunately, I have to say that this is the last place in Europe. So you can imagine which was the need to have this kind of information given by Beppe Grillo. Our movement is not to be considered as a political party, because we would like to be, or to be shown like an association of free people, of citizens. We would like to better name. That's why, unfortunately, in the last, I would say 20 years at least, the political party in Italy, they were not so loved by people because of their kind of political force. And I don't want to mention our very famous Mr. B, and you know who is so Mr. Berlusconi. When in 1994 he started his political activity, and from 0 to 100 the political party changed their behavior, so only thinking on their own interests, maintaining their political power, and not be taking care of common people problems. Why it's called so 5 Star movement? Because 5 stars are our 5 main points in our agenda. So that means public water. So that means also communication, so basically free access to the network, for instance. Another point is sustainable mobility, so a different view of the way of transport in the economy. Development, of course, in terms of development of a country. And last but not least, one of the common points we have also with your party is the taking care of the environment. Talking about the history, our first very famous action was the V-Day that we had first in 2007 and then in 2008. These were public meeting of people in big places in Italy. The first one was in Bologna and the second one was in Turin, where the movement started to ask the people what they wanted to do with the political situation. In terms, for instance, ask the people what they want to do about the information, so dealing with a different kind of information, as I told you before, and also a kind of direct democracy that until that day it was not so often used in terms, I think, from referendums or public voting, asking to the citizen what they want to do if, in terms of abolition or not of a law that is not anymore needed, or they want to change it. And the result was not so good reported by, for instance, the media. So no one from the media, for instance, there were no public TV recording the event. Even if there was around 100,000 people around Italy, there were in a meeting in different places. So you can imagine which was the approach from the establishment. And looking under a bad light, the movement itself. This is the first example. You can see a picture. This was the main place in Bologna. On that day, this was not a show, a paid show, so not the people that didn't have to pay for this show. But this was really a need to meet each other. One of the requests from the movement, or one of the first requests from the movement was that the parliamentary candidates must not have any kind of criminal records to be elected. It seems, I think, here in Germany a little bit strange, but up to last year, this year we had our parliamentary election, there were around 93 people with criminal records in Italy, in the parliament. And even though they tried to change themselves, making another new law in terms of making, or it was possible to be elected only if the criminal records was related to conviction under 2 years. So even if you went to jail but not for more than 2 years, then you can be eligible. And another change requested for the election law, it was also to let possible to the citizen in the election day to choose the candidates, giving a preference instead of just giving a vote to the list, and based on the election day, the votes were assigned, the seats in the parliament were assigned based on the position in the list. So that means the party, the top of the party were deciding which candidate should be first elected. So that means there were no option to common people to participate on a free election, only the ones who were nominated by the parties. And coming back also from the point of view of free information, the other request was also to make possible to make an abolition of the public financing of the parties. In 1993, the Italian citizens were asked with a referendum if, after the scandals we had in the beginning of the 19th, if the party should receive public money for their existence. And around, I don't want to be wrong, but around 93% of people said no. And the reaction of the politicians was, after a few years, they changed the law, saying that we will not call this public money as a financement, but just a reimbursement of election expenses. Not only they changed the name, but they changed also the amount of this reimbursement. So, you can imagine that parties takes around €5 each vote they get on the election. If we can make a calculation of what the party got in the last 5 years, the calculation is around €3 billion of public money, with no rules in how they can spend this money. So they just receive this money, not justifying how they spend. I know that here in Germany there's a very strict law that determine how, and also showing how they spend the money at each party, isn't it?
There are very strict laws how you get that.
Yeah.
For the checks, how you use it, I think a lot depends on that you have to tell your members, and your members check if you do that the right way. Especially on if you get money from rich people or firms, then it's really public control, otherwise it's more member-oriented.